What's up, heathens? How y'all doing? I'm the Godless Engineer, and I critically analyze apologist claims to give you the best arguments and information so that you can stand up and use your voice. Today, we're taking a look at a clip from The Line. If you would like to, please go down below to the description and find a link to The Line and to the live stream that this video clip is coming from. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing to The Line. I host over on The Line at least twice a month, so I hope to see you over there. All right. Let's get on into the clip. If you're ready to fuck around and find out what this crazy ass caller's talking about today, then please stay tuned.
Yeah, let's talk to Mark, who has a question for us, it seems. Mark calling in from Sandy Crotch, who wants to know what happens when you die. Mark, you're on the line with Forrest and John. How you doing?
Hi, Forrest and John. I'm doing fine. Oh, my topic is not a question. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine, yeah.
Hello? Oh, okay.
I can hear you. Can you hear us?
My topic is, yes, I can. My topic is not a question. It's a comment that I can tell you exactly what happens when you die. And it's based on the work
of messed up because it ends up with a question mark. Also, I'm going to be real honest with you right now. If you just mention a psychic medium that you saw on TV and you say that's your evidence, I'm just going to end the call. So do you want to just tell me if that's what it is? Because I'm not interested if that's what it is.
Oh, here it is. Hold on. It's Dr. Sam Parnia, MD, PhD. He's been working on NDEs for 25 years, and there have been 9 million in NDEs in the United States. Parnia, here's a bio. No religious beliefs, which means, I guess, atheist agnostic. He's a British associate professor of medicine, NYU Long Island Medical Center.
Spell his last name. Sam what?
Sam Parnia, P-A-R-N-I-A. I remember it as like
P-A-R-N-I-A.
P-A-R-N-I-A. Yeah. And it's the Director of Research, Cardiopulmonary Resuscitation, Research Director, Human Consciousness Project. He says you can be revived for 24 hours after death with the right circumstances, which usually means a refrigeration. He's affiliated with multiple hospitals, Hammersmith Hospital in London, University of Southampton, PhD. He's written a shelf full of books, including Lucid Dying, What happens when you die?
I'm not here for you guys to just be a fucking stool for this dude. Just tell me what you're talking about.
Well, okay. What happens when you die? Consciousness leaves the body as the body dies. Consciousness is free. It floats around the room. It can move about at will. It can see without eyes, hear without ears, and read minds. And here's
it's a lot. It's a lot of claims.
Well, here's one that solves them all. This is a story of a guy who was at his first day on the job.
I'm so sorry. I don't care about anecdotal stories. I'm sorry, Forrest. I don't know if you're interested in hearing anecdotal stories about near-death experiences, but that just doesn't cut it.
That's all there is.
That's pretty shitty.
I can't demonstrate it without doing it. I can't demonstrate it without.
That's not how science works. So look, you're quoting a scientist here. You're trying to be scientifically legitimate. I get that, but you can't sit there and tell me anecdotal stories are the only pieces of evidence that we have for this. There's no scientific data. If there's going to be something that actually exists after this life, and we're going to say that we know it, then there's got to be some kind of empirical evidence of it. Anecdotal stories are not going to be that evidence. Okay. It's just anecdotal stories. One, there's no way for us to actually validate and verify what you're even saying here. So, you're literally telling us a story, just a grandstand and monologue at that point. Number two, you said that there was a period of 24 hours after death in which you can revive somebody. Yep. That's what the Parnia guy says. Death is the most likely outcome after 10 minutes without oxygen as far as the brain goes. So you're basically brain dead after 10 minutes. I doubt 24 hours is actually a legitimate claim. Number four, or whatever letter I'm on. So as far as NDE goes, NDEs are pretty poor evidence, and the fact that we can't actually determine on whether or not these experiences that these people are claiming to have are happening either on either side of either brain death or not brain death, but just death, like the heart stopping and being revived. And there's obviously no way for us to tell that it's actually happening while the brain is deprived of oxygen, as the person is basically dead. There's no way for us to determine exactly when these things are happening. And NDEs are routinely rejected, and there are no actual NDEs that have been proven to actually provide us any kind of insight to an afterlife. So, I mean, if all you have are anecdotal pieces of evidence, then this call is kind of pointless. I don't know how Forrest feels. It seems like Forrest is reading about the scientist guy, so maybe he has some input there.
I'll have him respond to you.
He's been working on it for 25 years. He's been working on it for 25 years. He's been working on it for 25 years. He's answered all the questions that you just asked.
It doesn't. No, I sincerely doubt that he has. Because I mean, what I'm telling you is what the current scientific standard is.
Well, I think your current scientific standard is old.
Doctor or what?
After what? Well, that's been old for about 10 years. That's what Parnia says, and he is the expert.
Oh, okay. So we're just appealing to the authorities now, huh?
Well,
you don't have any empirical evidence. No, you don't have any empirical evidence to appeal to. So you're just saying, oh, well, this expert says a thing, therefore that thing is true. That's a logical fallacy.
I've been sitting here and scrolling, and I found things in Scientific American, and I found things in I Fucking Love Science, and I found things on CNN, and I found things from a couple of universities, and all these different things that are talking about some stuff this guy has published. And these are all from like years and years and years ago. This guy, this is from 2022. So the latest ones I'm finding are like 3 years old. This one's 2023, so this one's only 2 years old. And everything that I'm seeing on this just so far, including I actually found one of this dude's papers published in 2022, Guidelines and Standards for the Study of Death and Recalled Experiences of Death, Multidisciplinary Consensus Statement and Proposed Future Directions, which is by him and a shit ton of other people that worked on this. And even reading the abstract of his actual work, as well as several other articles that have been written about him then and in years after, I'm seeing a bunch of stuff about how this dude is noticing some similar experiences by people who've been resuscitated. He says over and over that like resuscitation technology is improving. We used to think if you stopped breathing, you were just dead forever, but it turns out we can resuscitate you. That brain matter starts decaying within a few hours to a day or two after death. So I don't know where the fuck you're getting this thing that people within 24 hours. I can tell you that's not accurate, but whatever. That your brain starts decaying within a few hours, and within a day or so, it's completely just beyond gone. And all over and over is saying that at the time of death, he's seeing certain spikes in like brain activity and stuff. And that sounds like increased awareness, which is what's causing these kinds of experiences, which seem to have some universal, superficial things, like where people are saying they have some universal experiences, which he's attributing to these spikes in brain activity. And again, I've literally heard about this for as long as we've been talking about it. I haven't done a deep dive in any of this, but just the casual glances that I'm reading from all of these articles that have been written about this dude, and also this dude's own work, absolutely none of it is suggesting the experience or the existence of a soul or an afterlife or consciousness literally existing outside of the body or any of that. I can't even find any religious sources making those claims. I'm finding people who are talking about this guy describing what happens in our brains at time of death, not that consciousness lives outside of our body in any way. Where did you get that from?
It's all over. They did a video about it.
All over. Who did a video? Who did a video?
Parnia.
Who made that video?
Parnia.
He did a video himself where he said
Yes.
where he said that the consciousness exists outside the body.
Yes.
Hold on.
I love how your evidence
is
basically I like how your evidence is basically there's a YouTube video about it.
That was his evidence last time.
Well, why don't you look at it?
Pulling up the transcript
Before you
here.
Judge.
For the same fucking reason that I don't want to look up the last thing you told me, and I was right to not want to look up the last thing you told me. I'm scrolling through the transcript of the video that you just claimed that we should be watching, and I'm looking for the word consciousness, and it isn't there. Now I'm going to look up death.
Nobody ever says consciousness. He's the research director of the Human Consciousness Project. Oh, this is just silly.
Hold on. Maybe I'm double check. I'm giving you way more of a fair shake than you fucking deserve. So hold the fuck on. Here we go. Where's our consciousness self goes? Study of consciousness, cardiac research, thought process and consciousness without physical pain. This period seeming unconscious from outside the world. So nope. Go as other consciousnesses. I'm literally just Control F going through every time they mention consciousness in the transcript of this video. Consciousness connected to the lost ancient question, the question of consciousness. So he's asking questions about it. Greek language, blah, blah, blah. Debates around consciousness are often blah, blah, blah. In terms of hard problem of consciousness, we have easy problems of consciousness, which is maybe misleading because they're all hard problems. But I think it's meant by hard problems, blah, blah, blah. Goes on to talk about ancient beliefs about consciousness, what we define consciousness as. There's two ways you can approach the concept of consciousness. I'm still not seeing anything about consciousness existing outside the body, which says brain. Here's the physicalist belief that brain activity causes consciousness. It does face a problem with new empirical results that we're getting from resuscitation patients after an hour of no brain activity. These people report a very clear consciousness experience after seeing a light in the tunnel. This is where I'm assuming is what you're talking about.
Yes.
Conscious experience or human element, blah, 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 blah. That person's something, something. And here he's describing that some patients have had. So what exactly happens to our consciousness after death remains unclear, but science does at minimum suggest we do seem to become annihilated when we cross over into death, into the great unknown, and that perhaps human actions and human thoughts and intentions do matter. I'm certainly seeing patients close to death have that kind of eye-opening awareness. Now he's just talking about people coming. So there's the part here I found in the transcript. Here is the part where he says that science is challenging what we think we know about consciousness, and it seems people are having vivid experiences after death. And then immediately after that, the next thing that he says is that what happens to our consciousness after death remains unclear, and that it is very suggested that we are annihilated and that there is no persistent consciousness. So the dude you're calling upon here doesn't say what you're saying.
I haven't seen the summary that you're talking about, but it's not in the video.
This is from the transcript that you told us to look up. This is from Rethinking Death, Exploring What Happens When We Die by Parnia Lab at NYU Langone Health and on YouTube.
Yes.
I'm just scrolling through the transcript of that video. So here's the thing, Mark, is that if this guy did say that, hey, I did a scientific study and I found out that there's consciousness persistent after death, whoop-de-fucking-do. You found one scientist who says some shit. Deepak Chopra says dumb shit all the time. When this guy gets a Nobel Prize for this, I will start listening. But so far, what you have done, exactly as what you did last time you called in, is you watched a YouTube video, asked no questions, and then believed some crazy shit about magic. And I want to ask you why you do that. Why is that enough for you? One YouTube video from one guy with some letters next to his name. Why is that enough for you to hold on to a belief in some supernatural crazy shit that has absolutely no other science backing it up. Because as John rightly started pointing out, we know that that the process of seeing is a physical process. We know that the process of hearing is a physical process. We know that the process of thinking is a physical process. We know everything that links back to brains is a physical process. We know that consciousness is an emergent property of brains. We know that because we have yet to see a single example of consciousness existing outside of a brain, despite this one guy who you're saying says that. And we've yet to see a single credible example of that with any kind of real backing. And we have seen ample examples of the fact that changing brains changes consciousness. So why is it good enough for you when all scientists are in consensus that all of this is physical, all of this is material, all of this comes from brains? Why is it good enough for you to watch a single YouTube video where a single guy makes a big claim that you are not equipped to verify or analyze, and you just say, yep, there's no way that's fucking wrong. Absolutely, I believe in that. Why is that acceptable for you?
This is not a single guy. He's got a huge army of doctors behind him, 25 years of experience.
How many?
And
how many?
Data from 9 million U.S.
How many?
How many what?
How many doctors are working? Oh, please. You're the one who fucking brought it up. You said he has an army of doctors. I'm asking how many?
More than enough. You're very
what is enough
going into this area.
What is enough, Mark? What is enough?
100.
100. So this right here.
Pull that out of your ass.
Absolutely no way. So does this man have more than 100 doctors that are agreeing with him that there is 30 fucking 4?
You beg for it. You beg for a number.
Just to be clear, just to be clear, when you shut the fuck up, Mark, I'm so fucking sick of this shit from you. Just to be clear, your initial claim was this one fucking guy said some shit and that means it's true. Then when I pressed you on that, you said, no, he's got an army of people. More than enough to be convincing. And when we pushed you on what more than enough means, you said it's 100. And now it's 34. So he's got 34 fucking people. Guess what? There are way more than 30. There are lists of literally over 1,000 scientists who don't believe in evolution, who don't believe in the Big Bang. You can find 1,000 scientists who say all sorts of crazy shit. That's not an academic consensus. That's not how peer review works. That's not how science progresses. So what happened once again is you have been convinced because you watched some shit on YouTube that you don't know anything about and you just believed it. Why? Why do you do that, Mark?
There are so many philosophical fallacies of logic in your last tirade. It's too many to count. It would take a day to map them all out.
To map out how many fallacies I've committed, you said?
Correct.
Okay, pick one. What's one fallacy that I committed? Since you can't name all of them, what's one that I just committed?
You're daring me to pick a number of doctors, how many he has behind him. He's multiple hospitals on both sides of the Atlantic.
I'm daring you to back up the shit you said. You said he has more than enough doctors to make what he's saying credible. I'm asking you what that means. Because I can sit here and tell you there's more than enough evidence for evolution. And if you ask me what that means, I can actually back that up and say that literally it is the backbone of biology, that every single biological experiment hinges upon it, that it has not just mountains of evidence, but unbelievable, overwhelming evidence because every different area of science points back to it. I can actually give you reasons to say that shit. I'm not just saying it to dismiss somebody's argument. You're saying he has more than enough because you don't like thinking about these things, and that sounds really important and impressive, and so you don't have to grapple with the fact that this is one single guy and his friends. Maybe he's got 100 doctors. Maybe he's got 1,000 doctors. There's, as I just said, over 1,000 doctors that sign up on lists every fucking year saying that the evolution isn't real. Doesn't make them fucking right. Project Steve is over 1,500 signatories of scientists named Steve. Getting a long list of scientists who say some shit doesn't mean anything, Mark. And in this case, you've got somebody with 34.
You just said it did. You said one was not enough. So I told you that there are more than one, and that's suddenly wrong. And why don't you listen
I
to
said
one
getting a
anecdote?
long list of scientists who
Evidence?
say some crazy shit and don't actually have academic consensus behind them. If this dude proved that consciousness was existing outside of the mind, he would be everywhere for it. He would be taught in every medical school on the planet. The fact that we haven't heard about this dude should tell you something.
It means that you're undereducated.
I'm not saying fuck off with that. Absolutely not.
Oh,
and that's not just for me. Like who I don't fucking care about me. But I
think you're dynamite on evolution.
What do you mean it isn't my area? What do you mean it isn't my area?
It's not your area. Consciousness.
What is my what area is this? What area is this, Mark?
Your area. It's consciousness. This guy is the director of research of human consciousness, the Aware Project 1 and Aware Project 2.
This is in consciousness research is what this area is in. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. What is your academic background in consciousness research to say that this is valid and true?
I've been reading for about 2 years, and nothing.
So you've been reading.
Parnia is not.
So to be clear, just to be very clear, you don't have any academic background in this, but I'm supposed to believe this because the guy who called in a couple of weeks ago to say that ghosts are real and a man has superpowers because he knew some shit about Anderson Cooper and his mom. That's the guy who's going to convince me that this other dude that I've never heard of actually has proven that consciousness exists outside the mind because of a study that I've never heard about. And who knows? Who the fuck am I, right? I'm not that special or important or smart. I'm just an asshole on the internet. But like the fact that this isn't anywhere that I've ever heard of, it's because, Mark, you don't give a fuck about what you know. That's why I'm so hostile. It's frustrating to me. You don't give a shit about whether or not the things you believe are actually true. You just see some shit on the internet and believe it instinctively and run along with it and call these shows and try to make us try to gaslight us because we don't believe the dumb shit you put in front of us just instantly like this because no, it's not your fucking turn. It's not your fucking show. Quit interrupting. Calm the fuck down. The fact that you call into shows like this and try to tell us that mediums are real and psychics are real and near-death experiences are real and all this stuff is real because you watched a YouTube video and you've been reading some things. It's fucking lazy. It's sincerely, genuinely lazy. And it's so fucking arrogant for you to sit here and call us uneducated. You don't know what the fuck our backgrounds are in. You don't know what we've studied or what we know. We just have never heard of this one random dude who it looks like isn't even saying the things that you were saying he's saying. You watched a video on YouTube and you were convinced by it. I swear to God, I hope you never fucking watch the Mermaids documentary on the Discovery Channel. You'll be calling about fucking mermaids next week. It's ridiculous. We demonstrated the last time you called in that you're gullible as shit and you'll believe anything anybody tells you. And now here we are again, where you watched another video and you believed another thing. What are we supposed to do with it, dude? Where do we go from here? John, I leave it up to you. I'm fucking bored.
Well, listen to this one anecdote. This is my personal experience. When I worked in public television.
I don't care about your anecdotal evidence.
Sorry, I dropped him.
It's not science.
Like when he said, here's my personal anecdotal experience, I'm just like, nope, fuck it. I'm just done.
Yeah, this is the guy, in case you don't remember, I don't think you were on with us, but this is the guy who called in last time to say he watched a psychic on YouTube who knew some shit about Anderson Cooper and his childhood and his mom. And there's no way he could have known that. And we're like, hey, Anderson Cooper's famous as shit and his mom's famous as shit. And you can very easily learn anything that he said about this dude on YouTube or on Google. And he's like, well, yeah, but he knew stuff about the camera crew too. And he's like, what's more likely, that this guy has superpowers or that he just did a cold reading or got the information beforehand or that everyone just lied and said that he got it right to make good TV? And he's like, nope, no way. He definitely has superpowers. Mark is the fucking #1 subscriber for National Enquirer magazine, who just believes any fucking thing that he sees on YouTube, and it sucks. It really sucks. And then he always calls in smug as a motherfuck to say, oh, you don't know shit. You're all uneducated because you didn't watch the YouTube video I watched. You don't know anything about science. This isn't your area. Is it yours? You've been reading some things and you watched a YouTube video and you believe in ghosts. What area are you in, Mark? Fuck off. Just so fucking, like, just so arrogant.
I was totally done. I was done with him when he was like, this isn't your area of expertise, as if like you don't have some kind of knowledge that could, be like just the general scientific mindset of knowing what makes for good evidence and how to easily like parse through like scientific studies and everything like that. Like, I think that you're better at that than I am, but even I can do that. And it just seems like he's not equipped for that.
The man does not check anything he believes. Anytime he calls in, it's just, I saw this online, so it's real. And it's like, dude, it's the same reason I stopped talking to fucking Steve from Nebraska. It's just, I saw this thing that said this, so that's real, right? Nope. Okay, well, I'll call next week and ask again. Why? It's every time. Oh, man.
Well, heathens, that's going to be it for today's clip from the line. Again, if you would like to subscribe to the line, their links are in the description. So please go down there and subscribe. And as a reminder, I do host over there at least twice a month on either a Sunday or a Monday. So if you want to see more of me answering questions from callers, please go over to the line and subscribe. Don't forget to stand up and use your voice. Bye, heathens.